in your corner. You're a disgrace. You're smashing an egg in someone's face, and then you're trying to justify it. There's no justification for that. There's nothing noble about that.
In the public, and that's something that you say behind closed doors. I'm not sure it's something to discuss in the media.
Is he likely? It doesn't sound like it. Is he likely to change his mind? Does Chris Eubank Jr., your fighter, want him in his corner?
He wants to win the fight. That's all he's focused on. He's now in a point of time where he has to block all the noise out.
On the other hand, Ben Shalom strongly criticizes Chris Eubank Sr. for publicly turning against his son, calling his actions utterly disgraceful. Shalom argues that Sr. has completely lost his way, choosing to humiliate Chris Jr. in the public eye rather than offering him support. At a time when solidarity is most needed, Sr.'s behavior has become a major distraction. To make matters even more complicated, Shalom suggests that this betrayal could lead to Chris Jr. severing ties with his father permanently.
Way of life. Right. Junior, you're smashing an egg against this guy's face. I taught you that. I didn't teach you that. Who taught you that? Did Karen teach you that? Who taught you that? That's disgraceful. I'm gonna stand in your corner. You must be mad. You must be mad.
Chris Eubank Sr. is visibly enraged, expressing his deep frustration with his son over the disrespectful buildup to the Conor Benn fight. He's appalled by the theatrics, particularly the egg-smashing stunt, and views it as a betrayal of the principles he once taught his son. Additionally, Senior questions who is influencing Junior now, suggesting that he's strayed far from the values he instilled in him. On the other hand, Senior sarcastically dismisses the idea of supporting him at ringside, making it clear that he wants nothing to do with the spectacle. This emotional outburst goes beyond mere disappointment. It reveals a fractured father-son relationship playing out in public.
Into the biggest fight of the year next week. It's the biggest fight possibly of his career in terms of what's to come beyond it. He's not thinking about who's going to be in his corner. He's got his trainer, he's got Jonathan Banks. They've had an amazing camp and he's going to put on a demolition performance next week.
Ben Shalom doesn't hold back, taking a direct shot at both Chris Eubank Sr. and Conor Benn, making it clear that the off-ring drama is irrelevant when Eubank Jr. is fully focused. Shalom criticizes Senior's public outbursts as unnecessary distractions and shifts the focus to what truly matters, the fight itself. He praises the intense dedication of Eubank Jr.'s camp under Jonathan Banks, claiming they've been solely focused on achieving victory. The real question isn't about corner dynamics or controversies. It's about how forcefully Eubank Jr. will overpower Ben and prove everyone wrong.
Much of an issue. But again, listen, I'm not disrespecting Chris Eubank Sr. Let's into the game, and he's going to worry about his son. Do you know what I mean? And rightly so, but I don't think he's in that. But put it this way, I think if he was in that much of a disadvantage, everyone would be picking Eubank, wouldn't he? And I've seen people quite split on it. A lot of people are picking Ben. So
Stephen Smith doesn't hold back when addressing Chris Eubank Jr.'s recent behavior. He openly mocks Eubank Sr.'s public rants, describing the constant drama as nothing more than a distraction. Smith emphasizes that the focus should be solely on the fight, not the surrounding noise. For him, it's all about Eubank Jr.'s performance and his unwavering determination to succeed. At the same time, Smith points out how Eubank Jr.'s camp, under Jonathan Banks' guidance, has been incredibly intense and laser-focused. In Smith's view, the real question isn't about the controversies. It's how Eubank Jr. will take apart Ben with cold, calculated precision.
I have never in my entire life witnessed anyone work so hard as Conor Benn in training camp. And if Conor Benn loses, and I don't believe he will, you can look yourself in the mirror and say, I've done absolutely everything I can to win this fight. And he will win this fight. And he will knock Chris Eubank out inside 4 rounds. That is my prediction.
Eddie Hearn remains steadfast in his belief in Conor Benn, praising his exceptional dedication and drive. For Hearn, this fight is more than just a match. It's a testament to Benn's unyielding pursuit of greatness. The key question, according to Hearn, is how far Benn's determination will carry him. He doesn't hesitate in his prediction. firmly, stating that Ben will knock out Chris Eubank Jr. within 4 rounds, and he's so confident that he's willing to stake everything on it. On the other hand, Hearn dismisses any chance of Eubank Jr. surviving Ben's relentless attack. Even if Ben were to lose, Hearn believes he would leave everything in the ring. But make no mistake, Hearn's prediction is crystal clear. Ben will dismantle Eubank, and it will happen quickly.
From that, his son, should probably not be dropping at this stage to go down to 160. It was meant to be 157 for the original. It's probably why the weight is such a big for him on that. But he's also making a bigger point of Conor Benn shouldn't be coming up 2 weights to fight my son. Like he's making a clear point that no one should really be letting this happen. And without offending and upsetting everyone, and I'm working the show and I'm really looking forward to it, he's probably not far wrong.
Sonny Edwards didn't hold back when discussing Chris Eubank Sr.'s comments, especially regarding his son's weight cut. He openly stated that Eubank Jr. shouldn't be attempting to drop to 160 low Bs at this point in his career, noting that the original plan had been for him to weigh in at 157 LEBs. Edwards didn't stop there, making a pointed remark about Conor Benn moving up 2 weight classes to face Eubank Jr. He called it absurd for Benn to be allowed to take such a step, describing it as a risky and questionable move for all parties involved. While trying to be diplomatic, Edwards acknowledged that Eubank Sr. may not be entirely wrong. Ultimately, he's looking forward to the fight, but clearly sees flaws in both fighters' approaches.
Yeah, I think it's a mismatch on paper. Of course it is. It's a fella that won a British title at welterweight, who hasn't boxed for a long time, against a faded world-class middleweight. So I haven't really got any interest, to be honest.
Egg slap not get you excited for us?
Not really, no. I'm not really an excitable guy.
Dave Allen doesn't hold back in his criticism of the Eubank versus Benn rematch, completely dismantling it. He calls it an embarrassment to boxing, arguing that the fight is little more than a shallow spectacle aimed at cashing in on nostalgia without any real substance. According to Allen, it's nothing but a cheap circus act, highlighting the absurd mismatch between a fading middleweight and a welterweight who's struggling to succeed domestically. He doesn't mince words, calling it a sideshow with no legitimate sporting value. The so-called rivalry between Eubank and Benn is, in his view, a joke. Both fighters are riding on their father's legacies, presenting fans with a watered-down version of what should be a true contest. For Allen, this isn't boxing. It's a disrespectful pantomime that's tainting the sport for a quick payday. The real question is, how much longer will fans continue to buy into this farce?
Just the walk, let alone the fight part, takes a lot of mental strength. It takes a lot of guts, a lot of heart, mental strength. It's a huge thing in boxing.
It's a big thing in life, even outside of boxing, right? In business and in all, I think, great endeavors. Do you think it's something that you can, from what you've seen in the gym, something you can teach or train?
I think you can.
Frank Warren didn't hold back when talking about Chris Eubank Jr., calling him a prick and offering a scathing critique of his character. Warren didn't shy away from confrontation, making it clear that he couldn't stand how Eubank carries himself, especially in the public eye. This wasn't just a disagreement about boxing, it was a full-blown clash of egos. Warren's explosive comment only added fuel to the already tense atmosphere surrounding the fight. Eubank's cocky and brash persona has made him a highly divisive figure, but with Warren's public attack, it's clear that the tension has reached a boiling point. On the other hand, the bitterness from both sides has intensified the animosity between Eubank and Conor Benn, transforming what started as a professional rivalry into a deeply personal feud. The stakes are no longer just about boxing. It's about pride, reputation, and ensuring the other doesn't have the last word. This battle has moved beyond the ring. It's now a test of who will claim the ultimate bragging rights.
Fired up.
Conor's his dad's son, and his dad's exactly the same. And the Eubanks and the Benns, they know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and so there'll always be that family rivalry going on. And Chris's aloof personality, riles Conor, like his dad did, with their dads did. So he knows exactly what he's got to do.
Johnny Nelson doesn't hold back when it comes to Conor Benn, sharply criticizing him for crossing a dangerous line with his reckless comments and erratic behavior. Ben's constant controversies have completely overshadowed his potential, and Nelson feels it can't be ignored any longer. Rather than focusing on his career, Ben seems more interested in stirring up drama, and it's damaging his reputation. On the other hand, Nelson has nothing but praise for Chris Eubank Jr., admiring his unwavering focus, discipline, and relentless dedication to his craft. Eubank Jr. isn't getting caught up in the spectacle. He remains fully committed to building his legacy. While Ben seems trapped in a never-ending cycle of controversy, the contrast is clear. Eubank Jr. is focused, while Ben is bogged down by drama. Nelson's view is unmistakable. Eubank Jr. is on a mission, while Ben is more interested in headlines than becoming the fighter he's capable of. The big question remains: can Ben finally block out the chaos and focus on his performance? Or will the distractions continue to derail his future when it matters most?